What's going on, everybody? This is Copy 801, and welcome to my very first live stream. So bear with me while I figure everything out. But today, I'm going to be talking about the Season 6 expectations for Supergirl. This is the final season, and it's been delayed because everything has been delayed this past year. However, I am not alone. I have got my buddy, Magic Lasso. Say hello to everybody, Magic Lasso.
Hello, everybody. And Copy, thank you so much for having me on your very first ever live stream on your channel. That's an honor.
No problem. Anytime. I was so happy that we were able to arrange this. And I'm very, very happy that I got another fellow Supergirl fan. Everybody knows you're a Wonder Woman fan, but what some people might not know is that you've got a very small place in your heart for her. So thank you very much again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. So I'm excited to talk about the Maid of Might.
There we go. That sounds great. So let's take a quick look and see who joined us. I already put his comment up. We got Justin Giovanni. What's going on? Oh, wow. We have a couple of more people. We have Robert Henning. What's going on? And we have All Strands Comic Collection. All Strands. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
So, as I mentioned before, me and Lasso are going to be talking about the Season 6 final season expectations for Supergirl. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start with, what we thought about Season 5 and what we want about Season 6, and then, just some final thoughts here and there, figuring everything out. So I'm going to give it to my guest. Season 5 of Supergirl.
So Season 5, I thought, kind of ran into a little bit of a trap that has plagued this series before. Before I specifically talk about Season 5, I want it well documented that I am a fan of this series. I think the casting is done very well on the show. And depending on who's writing it, this can be a very good show. What I thought that Season 5 lacked a little bit is something that wasn't the first time we've seen in this show. But it didn't seem to me that Supergirl was the focus as much on that season as she should be. I mean, it is called Supergirl. She should be the focus storyline. Not that the storylines that they presented were bad, but sometimes I always felt that Supergirl was taking a back seat to some of the storylines. One thing that I did enjoy, though, that we got a lot of in Season 5 that really works is John Cryer as Lex Luthor. That I think that he's very well cast. I mean, I've seen Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, and to me that doesn't work at all. But John Cryer certainly did work as Lex Luthor, and we got a lot of that in Season 5. I've always thought too that the relationship between Kara and Lex's sister Lena Luthor, that always seemed to be a little forced because they had this big split, and I'm like, but it didn't seem like you guys were the best of friends before then. So why is this such an emotional upheaval, emotional turmoil for Kara? That didn't, that seemed a little forced. Like they didn't seem as good of friends as how they're kind of saying it was. So, but like I said, I say that. Don't think that I'm not a fan of the show, or these are just a few things that I would have preferred to be different from our last season. What about you?
So I completely agree, because for some reason this season, oh man, I think I'm having a little problem with my mic. My apologies. So this last season, I completely agree. It was not what we were looking for. It was just kind of like, it is Supergirl, and it's not. It wasn't focused on her. It was more focused on the Luthors, and it was more focused on, the whole Leviathan event. Mm-hmm. It was focused on those characters. I mean, yeah, you can have certain side characters get a focus too. Like Alex she had a really good arc this season. And you had Nia Nall, who plays Dreamer. She had a really good arc this season, but she did kind of take a back seat. And the only thing that I thought was focusing on her was the tension between her and Lena. And like they've always been really like they've always been like decent working together, but this past season kind of it I liked it, but I didn't.
Yeah,
It was a little bit odd because I felt like that I felt like Lena's whole attitude was taken a little bit too far. Like, yeah, she
mhm.
should be pissed, but not like arch nemesis villain
Yeah,
pissed.
yeah, I
You
get that.
know, and the way they wrapped it up at the end was kind of like okay guys, hey listen, we got to get this done at this time. Let's wrap it up. And they just kind of I can't say forced, but rushed.
Yeah, I think that too. And one thing that we really saw in last season that I'm going to be mentioning this again when we talk about expectations for the new season that starts tomorrow. But the show was very political last year, and last year was the way that the country has turned out and has evolved to is these are political hot buttons. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk about that type of stuff, but to me, it came across more like the writers were going to use the show as their platform to say what they wanted to say personally about politics. And that's not what I want out of any show. I want a good story. If you can implement current events into it, that's fine. But first and foremost, give me a good story, regardless if it's political or not. I just want a good story. And it was another one of my friends and I were discussing this as the episodes were going last season. It's like, man, some days you just get home and you don't want more politics thrown at you. You just want to escape for a little bit, and sit down. And I was a little disappointed in the amount of stuff. It's not that the political stuff that they said shouldn't, like I said, shouldn't be talked about, or I'm for or against. My opinions on that doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying that I just sometimes just want a break from life and I just want to sit back and relax and enjoy a show.
Completely agreed. Completely agreed. Because they were like you can make a show kind of sort of echo things, but
Mhm.
this was a bit, it was a bit much.
Yeah.
And one example that the moment that you told me about that, one example was the VR lenses
Hmm. Yeah.
that they had, because it was all about control and controlling the population, controlling the people. The same thing that Ramakan from Leviathan was trying to do. Like it was too much based on that. Like if you have one plot point that centers around it, that's fine. But this was a whole season long just discussion about why it's not good. And
Yeah.
it just I don't know. I don't know. I was happy when the season was over
I kind of
because
was
of
too.
that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
last episode was pretty freaking good, but like I was happy that Leviathan was finally put to bed because I'm like, oh, thank God, I don't have to worry about these people doing this again.
Hmm. Yeah. And of course, in this last season too, we found out that Jeremiah has passed away. So, and how did that strike you any which way? Did you have any particular feelings about that?
Honestly, no. I don't remember having any feelings about it because like yeah, he was when he was first introduced as being alive, it was a huge deal. It was like, "Oh my God, he's still
Hmm.
alive. Are they going to find him?" But like at this point, it was pretty much played out. Like his character outlived his usefulness, and I think that's why they killed him off because they realized no one cared about him anymore.
Hmm.
So that was just kind of like you know, eh, and all that jazz. But now switching back over to something else that I believe happened in season 5. Um, what did you think about the serial killer that was going after you after trans people that Nia Nal was trying to fight? I believe
Um,
that was earlier in the season. I think.
yeah. I mean, definitely the entire Dreamer storyline was a prominent one, even at points over Supergirl again, which I don't think anything should be over Supergirl.
Hmm.
The show is called Supergirl. Um, it felt to me more like they were making a statement. Hi, Jason. They felt to me more like they were making a statement about a political statement. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I think it's great that a trans actor got a job on a major show like that. Um, it seems realistic, I guess, in the sense that that would happen. But just like I said, just give me a good storyline. I don't need to have any politics thrown in with it. It's okay if there's some, but it just seemed overly too political for me.
Completely agree. Again, going back to like you said about how this season was very politically oriented. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like that they introduced, brand new character, a brand new trans character, a member of the LGBTQ community. I mean, we found out along far seasons past that Alex was a lesbian. And
Mm-hmm.
then we had a new member of the LGBTQ community being introduced. And the way they went about the story was good, but like you said, it overshadowed the
Yeah,
overarching Supergirl issue. They're
yeah,
just kind of like I feel like they were touting the fact they're like, look how diverse our show is. We have
yeah.
this
I
and
agree
we
with
have this. And I'm like, that's kind of like filming yourself giving food to a homeless person. You know
you.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're doing a good deed, but do you really need to like be like bam? You know,
Yeah, too much in your face. So, and trust me, when it comes to a character's sexuality or a person's sexuality, to me, it's some people like coffee, some people like tea. You know,
completely agree.
so it's but sometimes it seems like they've gone a little bit overboard on that, just to say, look at us being all inclusive. Be The best way I think to be all inclusive is to be all inclusive without going around going, look at us, we're all inclusive. Just be it. You don't have to announce that you're being it. Just be it. So, and there's room and place in this planet for everybody. So I have no problem with the characters or the storylines that they're doing. I just don't want it overshadowing Supergirl. Hey, FNG, how you doing?
No, I completely agree. They took this past season in a different direction, and
Mm-hmm.
critics and fans have both had. I can't say they haven't liked it, but they've had a disdain towards it because they're like, this isn't what I'm tuning in the show for.
Yeah.
Like all the side characters are good, and you need a good arc for a side character, but
Mm-hmm.
Having the message of the side character overshadow the main character.
Which they've done many times before. That it wasn't this past season, but the Alex wants a baby storyline. Oh my gosh, every episode was Alex wants a baby. I got it,
Hmm.
and it was so much more than what was going on with Supergirl. I got it. She wants a baby. What are we going to do about it? I mean, here we are. But
I agree with that 100%. That was a bit like it's like okay, it's like we know,
yeah,
gotcha, like we know,
yeah,
but like you had that for like an arc in a season, maybe like a couple episodes here and there, but this was a whole season of
yeah.
just doing one of these, and you know
So I was going to ask you, knowing how much of a comic book fan and purist that you are, and knowing that your appreciation for characters, goes back not just the way that they're portrayed modern and currently, but when we have somebody on the show like Brainiac 5, which is awesome to see a good Brainiac on the show, and
Mm,
I really like his portrayal. But longtime fans like us know that Brainiac 5 and Supergirl are romantically an item. The fact that they're not doing that, and I understand why they're not doing that. I mean, Supergirl essentially is involved with a different Legion member, um, both on the show and in her real life. Um, did that kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but did that, I don't want to say bother you, but was that the fact that they didn't stick to that as a source something that you wish had been different?
I mean, to be honest, it I didn't mind her relationship with Brainiac 5. Like, don't get me wrong, they were good together, but I feel like the way that the actor portrays Brainiac 5 on the show, I didn't feel like jived with the way that Melissa portrays Supergirl. Like, she needs a certain that he can't give her. She's an independent. She's a very strong, independent, very, very kind of sure of herself in helping people and actions in that nature. So having her be with Mon-El, who the way that the gentleman did portray him was awesome. She was very structured and vigilant. He was more easygoing and carefree. They were
Yep.
both kind of sure of themselves with certain things. I felt like that relationship really worked. And, all the stuff that happened in the real world with Melissa's ex-husband and then how they got together. I mean, it's all really nice. I enjoyed that. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so awesome. They're together in real life too.
Yeah,
So
I
what did
mean
you
that
think about
that
that?
chemistry is literally real. So
Mm,
and they do work well together. And you know, diverting back to what brought us onto this topic, I don't think it would have worked with hey Justin, with Brainiac 5 and Supergirl having any type of romantic thing. And plus it would have been too soon after the Mon-El thing. I just don't think it worked. I am surprised though, although this goes back to more than just the previous season, that we didn't see more of a Jimmy Olsen Kara trying out their relationship, even though there was interest on his side.
that was interesting. I mean, Jimmy Olsen in this show, like, he's a badass. I
Yeah, he
enjoy it.
is.
I really I don't know the actor's name who plays him, but he does a great job. And
Yeah,
when they made him Guardian, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This works so well. But I feel like with this season they didn't have that, and then having Jimmy move away into a small town, and really funny crisis happened right in the middle of the season, so
yeah.
everything got overturned, everything, and
Mhm.
it was kind of like back to status quo, kind of, sorta. But what did you think about that?
I liked what they've done with Jimmy overall. I did think earlier on, and I'm talking very early in the series, that potentially it was going to go between like a love triangle between Jimmy Olsen and Windshot and Kara. So I thought the three of those would kind of make up that triangle. But that's a top-notch character, and they did. I mean, we haven't seen Jimmy portrayed like this. I don't think in any other of the Superman mediums or Superman family mediums, and I really think that was good what they did
I
with
don't.
that.
Yeah, I don't think they've portrayed him quite like this either. Making him Guardian was a really it was very natural when they did
Yeah,
that
it was.
early on in the series.
It made sense
And
too. His motives behind it.
oh yeah, completely. They built that up from day one, and it was it was fantastic. It was really good. But
Yeah. But
now
you
that
like
we,
John Cryer. You like John Cryer as Lex Luthor, though, right?
oh my God, John, I what the first time I saw him as Lex Luthor, I'm like, this is the guy from 2.5 Men. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's this goofy looking guy, and then just to see him with, I don't know whether they shaved his head or they gave him a headpiece, but him bald, just the way he talks and his mannerisms and just the way he carries himself. Like, I'm gonna be honest, he is such a good Lex Luthor. Like, oh my God. Like, what's his name from who played Lex Luthor in Justice League? What was his name again?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg does not, like, he tried too hard for the
Mm-hmm.
role. John
Yeah.
Cryer, it just looked like it was so
So natural.
natural and such.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, having him was so good. Such a great choice. I, I really don't think that there's been a more faithful adaptation to Lex Luthor than John Cryer.
The closest would probably be Gene Hackman from the original Superman movie. That's probably the closest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the way they fleshed out his character too, like
Mm-hmm.
everybody just looks at Lex Luthor sometimes, like, if you're looking from the outside in, he's this regular villain that you're just like, oh, what the hell's going on with this guy? He's just a regular guy. He doesn't like Superman, da 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 da. But they give him motives and reason
Yeah.
and a backstory and all this.
One thing that I thought that they did really well last season, and I remember when this was going down, I literally, like, I can tell when I'm getting really invested because I'll be watching my TV like this, and then something really good will happen, and next thing you know, I'm like this, you know. And with Supergirl, I remember one of my like this moments was the Eve Tessmacher stuff that they did and the reveals that they did with Eve Tessmacher and finding out that essentially she kind of was like a double agent, working for Lex all along. And I thought that was done very well.
Oh my God. When that happened, I think I literally had to like go back and replay the scene again
Yeah.
just to be like, wait, hold up. What just happened here? And then to find out that she's working for Lex because she's got, she has a vested interest. Like her family is going to get killed if she doesn't work with this guy. So it's like, first you're like, oh, she's harmless, da da da. Then you're like, no, she's not harmless. Like she needs to get taken down now. And then you're like, well, actually, it kind of feel for it. Kind of feel for her.
Yeah, they gave that character much more depth and you have a vested interest in her more from from what they did with her. So kudos to them for doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought she was going to be like a one of those side characters, like a throwaway side character for that season, but no. Like people love Eve Tessmacher.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So now that we have pretty much completely digested season 5, final season. 2 years later, we're finally getting the first episode tomorrow or Wednesday. Tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night.
In place of Superman and Lois, so.
So, what do you think? But before we go, I'm going to go on to, I'm not going to show the screen, but just in case anyone who is not aware, Supergirl season 6 is Supergirl's final season.
Yep.
And it's going to be airing tomorrow night. But I'm going to give the synopsis for the episode, like 2 sentences.
Okay.
As Brainiac lays close to death after trying to stop Lex, Supergirl and team soar in to save him, engaging in an epic battle with Ganymede. After beating Leviathan, Supergirl turns her attention to Lex, who has used the Obsidian platform to brainwash half the world to love him and follow him at all costs, no matter what horrible things he does. Knowing how dangerous this makes her brother, Lena enlists the entire team to help. But Supergirl realizes the only way to truly stop Lex is to sacrifice herself. And that's just the first episode.
Yeah.
To me,
Pretty,
that sounds like a season finale.
it does. Yeah, or the series finale, you know?
Mm. So, based on the last episode of season 5, after hearing that, what do you think? What do you think about the way that they're going to be going for season 6?
What I'm hoping is more Supergirl oriented. I hope that since they know that this is their last season, that they throw everything in there. Everything, there's no holding back. Don't hold back on anything this season. This is your final season. Give it all to me. What I really want, I love it when we have Superman, Supergirl together. I know he's got his own show. Bring him in anyway, at least for an episode or two. Quite honestly, I would have been more happy if they would have merged the two shows together and called it Kryptonian Cousins. And not that I dislike Superman and Lois. I actually think that that's really well, and you're going to be talking about that live later on tonight here on this channel. But when you put the two of them together, they are so good. Now, they have said that Supergirl will make appearances on Superman and Lois, and I'm going to hold them to that because I want that. It won't be as much to my liking, but I definitely would like. I like a threat so big that it takes both Kryptonians to finish it. I would love to see Mon-El back this season. Like I said, the chemistry between the two of them is good. I would love to see more of our original cast back, at least at some point, including Windshot. I thought that he was a good character. The Cat Grant character, she's good. Callista Flockhart played her very well, but the problem with that character was that entire character is The Devil Wears Prada. That's all that character is that movie. You know, if you watch The Devil Wears Prada, that is Cat Grant, and there's only so much of that you can do. So I was surprised she even lasted a full year on the show before they wrote her out, because that's a pretty one-dimensional character. It's a fun character, but it's very one-dimensional. But bring her back for something. Give me as much Superman stuff as you can. Heck, give me Streaky the Super Cat. I'm good with it.
If they bring the Super Pets, I'm gonna die. Because that's one of the few things that they haven't introduced. That's kind of like, it's like an itch in the back of your head. It's like, are they gonna introduce the pets at all?
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, completely agree. Having both of those actors together, having the Superman Supergirl dynamic, they both play their characters phenomenally, and their chemistry, the way they play off of each other, is stupendous.
Yeah.
I hope they have more of that. If they bring back the whole gang, which, if they're smart for their final season, they will. You get Windshot.
Yeah, you know, give me something with everybody.
If they have that as like the final, like a 2-part final episode where it takes everybody and their mother, and even having Cat Grant make like a little cameo to do something, that would be absolutely phenomenal and wonderful in so many different ways.
And you know, how about Supergirl and the new Batwoman together? You know, Carl would be going, "Who are you? I don't know who you are. You know, you're not the Batwoman. You're not my Batwoman. You know, that's something to think about too. Although, like I said, I don't want them to get so heavy that the series isn't about Supergirl. I want the series about Supergirl. And another thing that I already know, a wish that I have for this season that I'm not going to be getting, because I've already seen it stated. They said it's going to be another political season this year. And that like was the number one thing I didn't want to see, for the reasons that I've talked about earlier. So, but they've already said there will be a lot of current political environment incorporated into Supergirl this season.
I mean, to be honest, it would be kind of weird for both of them to like be together like that. I don't know. I really don't know because I haven't seen the new show. So I can't really make a judgment.
Yeah, it's hard to judge. We're judging on something that we haven't seen yet. But I okay, then let me revise this by saying, since we are going to have politics into it, I hope that it's handled better than it was last season and not so in your face.
Yeah, if they do
And
like if they do a little bit here and there,
yeah, a
that's
little
fine.
bit. A little bit's fine. It's all about, how much are you giving us? And it was too much last season. But jumping back to talking about Lex Luthor just for a minute, Justin made such a good comment in the sections that Jesse Eisenberg would have been a better Riddler, perhaps. Agreed. I think that Justin nailed it with that statement.
Yeah, he definitely would have been a better Riddler rather than a Lex
Mhm.
Luthor. I don't know why they didn't do that. And I watched a YouTube video the other day about how characters that played other characters, I forget who did it. Maybe it was like Mojo or something like that. And they actually said that. And I completely agree because he would have been his mannerisms, the way he talked, the way he did things. It was very Riddler like and not very Lex Luthor like. And I was just kind of like, really? You're going to, like, don't get me wrong. The Justice League movie has come and passed. We've seen the Snyder Cut, or hopefully everybody's seen the Snyder Cut. But, I mean, the fact that they didn't include him in there was too much, except for the little end scene was smart because he had more Riddler. Like, all he was a rich Riddler.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Not Lex Luthor. So,
Yeah. And
Justin, kudos to that.
I don't want to keep talking about the Snyder Cut because that's not the focus of our show. But one thing I do want to ask you regarding the Snyder Cut is, hey there, Anthony. For the longest time, everyone said that Supergirl was supposed to be in the Snyder Cut, and they showed the proof. They showed that like that little three-dimensional hologram diagram thing, and you could tell that the costume didn't connect with the boots, and so it's Supergirl. And once we saw the Snyder Cut, we saw that scene restored, and it was not Supergirl. Were you disappointed that after all of the rumors and all of the evidence that was presented that Supergirl would have some type of a cameo in the Snyder Cut, the fact that she didn't, was that a disappointment for you?
No, it was not a disappointment for me because it wasn't her time to be in a movie.
Yeah.
Like this movie just focused on those characters. It's focused on Superman, Batman, Flash, Superman, Batman, Flash, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe I forgot that. Jesus,
I never forget that one. I just saved the best.
So it focused on those five.
Yeah.
And that's all the movie should have focused on. Like, you brought in Martian Manhunter, get the little cameo, little cameos here and there, I'm cool with. But like you said about focusing on politics for the season, same thing should be done with this. Focus on the potatoes and then get everything else later or minimize it.
Yep. So what are your hopes for this season?
I mean, you pretty much just echoed mine. I'm going to be honest. You echoed mine very, I want to have everything the way that you said it. I'd like, less of the politics and more of, people just writing good stories and having good written content.
Yeah.
That's what I would prefer to have. The first episode just sounds like a season finale. And I mean, in all honesty, we were left at a cliffhanger, so it kind of is. But I'm just hoping that, that they wrap it up and that they make the final season just amazing. Because if they don't, That's gonna, it's gonna make fans very disappointed,
Yeah,
if you know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying. So
I just referred to Tim the comic collector as Yim. Stupid typo.
we got a couple more
Hi,
people.
Yim.
We got T Rabbit.
Hey, yeah,
What's going on? And we've got Tim.
yeah,
Or
Yim.
Yam.
Yim.
Yim. Okay.
Tim, Tom, Samantha, Yim. Stupid typo.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I just give me a good season. You know, it's interesting how the Supergirl series borrowed a lot of famous Superman comic book storylines throughout the years. So I think that one thing that Superman and Lois did so well, and you can elaborate this more, maybe perhaps you will on your next show, but they take them out of the usual setting. And so they kind of almost have a new plate, a clean plate to work with, I think, when it comes to that universe that they're creating. They don't have to go, well, Supergirl kind of already used this storyline, because there's you don't want them doing the Black Mercy, even though that's a fantastic, Black Mercy is always a fantastic story when it's done, but it just was done too recently in Supergirl for it to be, I think, effectively redone in Superman and Lois. So I don't know if they're going to stick with any famous storylines from the comic books. They certainly have used a fair share effectively, and I think when they've used those storylines from the comics is when the show does very well.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Like, having the fact that they took some of the famous Superman stories, and put them into the Supergirl show was so good. But, at the same time, I don't want Superman and Lois to be a recycle.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking about this with Mike in about an hour and a half. So if anybody's interested in Superman and Lois, you can tune back onto my channel in about an hour and a half. But for this, they did a good job with some of the Superman storylines. They adapted it well, and I enjoyed it. Will we see that in season 6? Who knows? There were a lot of dangling plot threads, which I hope are closed out.
Yeah. Do you want everyone to have a happy ending when we reach the series finale?
Do I want everybody to have a happy ending at the end? I mean, I'd like everyone to have closure. If they end up going to something new, I'll be happy with that. I mean, there's probably going to be at least one person dying, because that's just what they like to do. They'll kill off one major character just to be like, wow, look how much things have changed and all that.
I hope it's not Alex.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Now that family's had way too much stuff happen to have them kill her off.
And leave the mother alone too.
Yeah, the mom, she's, we'll see. We will see, but we've been going for a little while now. So once again, I'm going to, thank you, Lasso, for coming on.
Yeah,
chopping it up for a little while, and I'll give you this opportunity. Promote anything you want, anything you've got coming up on your channel.
Sure. For those that aren't familiar, I have my own YouTube channel, Magic Lasso. Obviously, with the name like Magic Lasso, you know that I'm a Wonder Woman fan, but my channel deals with more than that as well. Bronze Age comic books especially are like my wheelhouse. That's just what makes the eyes go like that. But I like Silver Age too, and not so much modern stuff you'll see on my channel, although I am still currently a comic collector. But head on over to Magic Lasso, sub me up. I certainly do appreciate everyone that has subscribed and leaves a comment on the video, and the friendships and the interactions that I get to have with the community means the world to me. But on Wednesday night on my channel, it's going to be a little bit late. It's going to be 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. I know that's a little bit late, but I'm going to be joined by Comics for Thomas, who's another great YouTube community member. He has sent me this massive box. I mean, it's massive. And it's definitely bigger than a box that would just have comic books in it, and it weighs a lot more than I know that there are some comic books in it, but this box, there's something else, not comic books in this box too. And we're going to do, as you've heard people do what's in the box, we're going to do what's in the big box. And we won't be dilly-dallying around very long. Once we go live, I've only got a tight window to work with Thomas, because he's in a different time zone than I am too. And he's got to get to bed to get up very early to work the next morning. So 9:30 on Wednesday night on my channel, Magic Lasso, 10:30 Eastern. Thomas will be joining me. We're going to unbox what's in the big box and find out together. It's something comic book related, he said, whatever the big thing is, in addition to the comics that he's going to show. So I have no idea. I'm dying to get my hands ripping open this box. So if you can join me for that, that'd be great. If you can't join live and catch the rewind, that's appreciated as well, too.
No problem. I will see what's going on, and hopefully I'll be able to, join in the live. But I'm about as curious as you are what's in that box. You were telling me about that a little bit before. So hopefully you got some good stuff. And
I'm sure Thomas always takes care of me.
Oh, yeah. And if anybody wants, I've got Lasso's YouTube channel in the video description. So check that out in case you're not subbed up. Give him a sub. And tune into the stuff he's got going on. And on that note,
AOKs on my channel, and some more comic book edition videos coming up too, and some prize wins I'll be sharing. So, I think I'm going to get one of those comic fu mystery boxes that the mystery men have been curating and building a mystery for the last few months. So those go on sale tomorrow. I'm sure I'm going to get one of those and unbox that and open that up very soon on the channel after it arrives too.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
We all look forward to that. So click on the link in the description. You'll see Magic Lasso's YouTube channel there. Give him a sub. He's got a lot of good content coming up. He always has a lot of good stuff. But we're just telling you about it right now for the future. Well, like I said, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And on that note, I will see everyone later.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah, and bye. Take care. Thanks for watching.